All right, clearly it's dark outside. The sun went down about just under an hour ago, and now we're dealing with some colder temperatures. And now all those wet roadways, wet sidewalks, remember, it snowed today. All those wet locations that I just mentioned are freezing over, so slow it down with your driving, please. And this is going to continue because we're going to be sub-freezing temperatures into tomorrow morning. We're even going to have a foggy start for some of us. So please, hazardous driving, that should be the top order of business tonight and tomorrow morning. On satellite radar, we're still going to keep clouds around. This system slowed down today. That's why we had the snow totals double, essentially, from less than half an inch up to an inch and a half. Now we're dealing with plenty of snow and rain into the southern and southeastern corner of our Centennial State. Pueblo, Colorado Springs. They're still dealing with this storm system. We're barely hanging on. There's only a few spots on radar that indicate snow is falling. But on this list, and this is only Mesa County for now, on this list, and granted, Colburn, a little higher in elevation than the rest, but getting past the 2.5-inch mark there, almost 2 inches for the Redlands area, almost 2 inches at Rifle as well. And that jibes with the forecast, and then we lower the increments all the way down to Clifton with just an inch. So, pretty decent Friday. Started a little bit later than I anticipated. I thought the kids would be dealing with snow at 7:30 this morning, when in fact that's the time it started snowing. But we head in through the evening hours without snow falling. Highs today suppressed because of the speed of the system slowing way down. Pretty close to the forecast high for Montrose. We knew it was going to be cold in the mid-30s, so we dropped to 32. Grand Junction, 4 degrees colder than the forecast. And of course, fairly consistent temperature in the Gunnison Valley, as it has been the case with the inversions. Now we keep snow on the ground, and that'll lend itself tomorrow morning with our clearing sky. Temperatures and dew points will get pretty close, so we should have some fog across the Grand Valley tomorrow morning. That will probably be a hazardous weather issuance from the National Weather Service early tomorrow morning. So if you have to get up and get anywhere, just know the expectation is you could have some lowered visibility around Mesa County. Current temperatures just at or below the freezing mark, only 1 or 2 spots above freezing. So yeah, be careful driving tonight with those slick conditions on the roadways. That's only going to continue to deteriorate. Wind speeds, not much of an issue right now. As far as the top wind gusts of the day, we barely exceeded the 10-mile-per-hour zone. Never really had that expectation that this cold front would kick the wind machine into gear, but you know, I thought we'd get at least 10 more mile-per-hour speeds going. As far as hazardous weather goes, winter weather advisory off towards the east and the area mountains. Still going to wait for the National Weather Service to reevaluate the determination of fog, but I think there's a good chance that we'll see that tomorrow morning. Outside of that, we're gearing up for a nice weekend. Granted, we're going to keep the clouds around tonight, but we'll get clearing skies tomorrow morning. The fog should thin out by about 9 a.m., and if we do have a fog advisory, that's probably when it would expire. Sunshine for Saturday afternoon, sunshine for Sunday afternoon. We're looking, our weekend is looking pretty good with mild conditions, high pressure building over the western third of the United States, deflecting storms off towards the north. We'll get another storm system coming online for Tuesday, Wednesday of next week, but at the Genesis site, Pacific Northwest, it'll have to ridge over and then dive down along the divide. West of the divide or east of the divide, that'll be the determining factor of who gets most of this storm activity for the middle of next week. Tomorrow morning, single-digit readings for Gunnison, teens into the Roaring Fork Valley, 20s for the Highway 50 corridor, and then we're right back to the averages and slightly better than the averages. In fact, 39 is where we should be for this time of the year, and this weekend we're going to push into the lower 40s. We're not setting records, but it's going to feel pretty good. So if you have a list of chores to do, I'd get out and do it Saturday afternoon, and then Sunday you can just kick back and relax and not do anything. Well, we're going to be fairly consistent with our temperatures until that next opportunity for unsettled weather arrives by Tuesday. Good evening, Fox family. Let's take a look at what's happening on radar. We still have cloud coverage, and that's going to stick around later because this storm system slowed down today. We had already anticipated some clearing by about 10 o'clock tonight. That won't be the case. We're going to keep some clouds around. We have just some light snow falling in eastern Garfield County as you're heading in through Glenwood Springs, so please be very careful. And it's not just this stretch of the interstate you need to be careful on. All that snow that fell today, and it wasn't a lot, but the snow that did fall today has generated, or I should say accumulated, on the grassy areas. So that left sidewalks and roadways wet. And now we have sub-freezing temperatures, and that's going to continue through the rest of the evening hours tonight. That's conducive to slick conditions, so please be careful walking, be very careful driving, and if you do encounter flashing lights, emergency workers on the side of the road handling an accident, it is the state law. You need to slow way down and move over. Let's talk about temperatures real quick. Because of the speed of the system slowing down today, that did not allow Grand Junction to get to the forecasted high, which was supposed to be close to the upper 30s. So, okay, not too bad. We still had the storm system, well deserved. We needed that snow today. Most areas below 7,500 feet picked up about 3 inches or less. Now, with that being the case, I want to talk about Powderhorn this morning because Powderhorn Mountain Resort reported 1 inch this morning when they opened the resort. When they closed this afternoon, they had a total of 4 inches for this storm system today. Montrose, I've seen reports of nothing or a little bit. So with that being the case, let's talk temperatures because we were colder today. We were going for 35. We struck 32. We're supposed to be in the upper 30s. Everyone will recover tomorrow afternoon, Sunday, and Monday. In fact, we'll keep a fairly consistent run of temperatures into the middle of next week. I mentioned the middle of next week because that's when our next storm opportunity arrives. Here we are, the only spot, Delta, the only spot that is above the freezing mark. So again, important. Slow down driving tonight. It's dark, low visibility. In fact, speaking of low visibility, tomorrow morning with all this moisture on the ground and the clearing skies in the morning, we could be looking at some fog developing around the Grand Valley. Montrose will probably still be dealing with low clouds, but I think we'll have some fog. National Weather Service is evaluating that situation as far as temperature and dew points go. If they are close, then we'll see that fog developing into the early morning hours. So again, keep that in mind if you're driving or if you're planning to get up early tomorrow. Winter weather advisories still exist well to our east tonight. Snow is still falling to the east. Western slope right now, kind of quiet, and we're going to dry out for the weekend, and we're going to clear up for the weekend. Mostly clear skies. We'll get our temperatures back. This storm system that passed through, remember it developed in the Pacific Northwest, rode over our ridge of high pressure, which is going to be our dominant weather maker for the weekend. Ridge of high pressure for the western portion of the United States. This storm ridged up and over. Now, middle of next week, we'll have another one. A weak version of the same system doing the same thing, up and over and then diving down along the divide. West of the divide, more beneficial for us. East of the divide, we'll hardly see anything other than an uptick in cloud coverage. Single digits for Gunnison as we start our Saturday. The weekend is upon us. If you have the days off, get out and enjoy them. Mid-teens for the Roaring Fork Valley. If you head to the backcountry, please be careful. We still have avalanche danger. Be mindful of your surroundings. Check with CAIC, the Colorado Avalanche and Information Center, before you get into the backcountry. And if you're heading up to the resorts, leave early. Give yourself plenty of time and space and enjoy yourself. All areas tomorrow get temperature improvements. We're going to get back to the averages and then some for this time of the year. There's the fog reminder for the Grand Valley tomorrow morning. Temperatures in the low 40s. We're not setting records this time of the year, but we are going to do better than the averages. We're going to be looking at Tuesday for that next round of unsettled weather moving through. Right now we have just a subtle drop in temperatures and an increase in cloud coverage. That's just a preliminary indication that this system may slide to the east of the divide. But again, another 48 hours, we're going to evaluate this and see if this could be our next round of unsettled weather that delivers snow. Outside of that, we're going to look at the last few days of the month of January for yet another round of weather.